now have an intermission. Dear students, do you ever feel cramped? Do you ever feel lonely in that little place that you call home? Do you ever think about how this crampedness and this loneliness causes you, like how it's detrimental to your mental health well-being? Well, we have a solution for you.
There is a solution. Double rooms. Double rooms are great because you're never gonna be lonely with your roommates. But guess what? You have no privacy at all. Take the St. John's College we're living in as an example. The double room is only about 160 square feet. You have to share everything with everyone. And the tiny space that university given you cannot help you distress. And there's so many noise that it's kind of obvious to see why students are so cranky these days.
Well, then obviously, since it's a double room, your next solution would be you move into a single room, right? So single rooms, you actually have your own room, you can study there, you won't have a roommate that goes in anymore. But then the problem is, just like the double rooms, you have to share your kitchens, your bathrooms, and then as you probably all know, with Hong Kong, for example, the population is increasing and the area is not that big either. So there's a limited amount of dorm rooms, and then the competition for accommodation is going to just increase every year, and you still have to deal with the noise. And so therefore, it's not that good for you because on top of your studies, you still have all that noise that is not great for your mental health well-being. So no, single rooms are not the best idea either.
You know what? Go on and move out, which means nano flats. Nano flats give you complete privacy. You have no noise, no competition for accommodation. You have complete control over everything. But guess what? Nano flat is also called coffin cubicles. For 3,800 Hong Kong dollar a month, you will only be getting a bunk bed, a closet, and only a small floating tables. Is it worth it at all?
So although these options seem abundant, as you probably see, it's not really the best. So we have a solution for you that might help you with your mental health well-being. So introducing the rotating rooms, R squared.
Alright, so with the new living environment we call R squared, or rotational rooms, rotating rooms, we aim to decrease the general space of living while also increasing the personal one for every individual. The way this would work is by having 5 parts of the floor, 4 of which would contain the actual room of the person, where he'll have a bed and all the necessities that most nano rooms have. However, the difference here is the 5th part. As you can see, it's the circular part over there, which is contained by 2 circular parts. One which is in the middle and it's the elevator, so you can get into the floor. While the other one is the rotating circular room, which also contains 2 bathrooms, 2 small bathrooms, 1 big one, and a kitchen, so that you can share. You can also share it with your roommates, but still maintain a level of privacy.
So this is going to be a VR tool for virtual reality, and what it is going to be it's going to be used as a survey. So what we're going to do is the subjects are going to be students that have to stay in there for multiple hours, for example, 5 hours or more. So the reason that we chose that you have to stay in there for multiple hours is because that you're forced to use the facilities, and if you put 4 people in there, there's going to be bound to have reasons of where multiple people will need to use the same facilities at once. And this forces you to have to socialize and communicate with them in order to know which facility is vacant and which is not. And then they're using the screens and the buttons, as you've probably seen just now. It will be they control it that way. And then like this way of living is the bathrooms are privatized for the time that you use it. And so the way that this does is that it efficiently reduces general space but increases the personal space.
So how does R squared actually improve our mental health or well-being? So R squared introduces a new mindset by offsetting privacy and social life, and to help users to have a balance between the two. By, for example, if the user wanted privacy, then he can stay inside his room, but at the same time, R Square also encourages users to communicate and interact with other tenants living inside R Square when they're sharing kitchens or lounge or yeah. And then these all these so the demonstration here still the demonstration here help us to stimulate how by simply changing the living environment we can actually improve the mental health of well-being.
So to add on for the tool wise, after they're immersed in this environment, what we can do is we can then give a survey and see how they think about this, and then so with the survey that we can see whether or not this is viable for the future and change the possible infrastructure of the dorm.
Right, so now alright, so just to show how the rotating cylinder works here. Please hold on. So the terms and limitations for this structure, if it were to be built, are that the original infrastructure of Hong Kong would have to be demolished in order to be replaced by these new buildings, having the rotational rooms. Also, you're not completely private, but you still have a certain degree more privacy than if you were to be here, for example, in St. John's. And another limitation is you may get stuck in the same facility for a longer time, and you have to stay there. So in general, you have to be patient while the cylinder rotates, so you can enter your desired room, either the kitchen, the big bathroom, or the two
Time's up. Thank you. We will begin the Q&A session. Are there any questions from the floor?
So you said that you won't demolish any infrastructure, plus you are not creating any more space. So in Hong Kong there are nano rooms because there is no space. So how will you create more space to build your double rooms that you said?
Exactly. We will demolish original infrastructure. No? So if we do that, so we replace it, right? We replace the original infrastructure in Hong Kong with these new buildings. Does that answer your question?
What I want to say is like if you demolish infrastructure, like then wouldn't it be like, why don't you like the other unused areas? If you demolish one thing and create another, it would be like a lot of destruction. So like if it was so simple, wouldn't Hong Kong create double rooms and not create nano rooms? That nano rooms exist for a reason.
Yeah. So the reason we have this is to replace the nano rooms. Okay. And I understand what you're saying, but if these rooms are basically like nano rooms, except you have other people living with you, but not directly. So what I'm trying to say is that you don't need to demolish them. They can be replaced. And we only had 48 hours to think about this, so we couldn't think of all the limitations.
And the reason for our design is that we want to like optimize the use of space. Like most of the time, like kitchens and bathrooms, you don't use it all the time. So our design can make better use of space.
Oh, and thank you for the presentation. I have some questions actually this time. The first question is that two people want to use the same facility at the same time, but with different level of needs. Let's say I want a bathroom, he wants a bathroom, but then I'm more urgent than him. And how does your system knows which to allocate to? And the second question would be, if let's say A wants a bathroom and B wants a kitchen, but then the orientation of the rotation thing does not allow both to access both facilities at the same time, then how would you solve this like geometrical problem?
Alright, so if, for example, the guy living in room 1 wants to use the bathroom, and the guy in room 4 also wants to use the bathroom, the guy in room 1 only needs to click a button so that he can activate the rotational sequence of the cylinder. The rotational sequence of the cylinder just rotates, and he's allowed to go into the bathroom, while the other guy already has one. He's not. He doesn't have to get involved into doing so. It could be also stated the guy in room 3 if he wants to use the kitchen. So the cylinder only would need to rotate 9 degrees most of the time.
But what if it's a fire escape? Like, you know, is it a fire? So then they all have
That's one of the limitations, but
So probably this is not the final design of our solution. So we can have some like hallways between those rooms, or we can add some stairs outside, just like what we can see. We can add those stairs outside their own buildings, so they can get water to go.
Okay, judges, please feel free to ask your questions.
Hello, I'm personally a real estate expert myself. So for your project, when you think about well-being in this category, so you assume